Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Adam Rateliff, aka Adam So Fun, and this is my BERNINA Q24. His name is Nacho, and I am on a pro frame. And today we're gonna run through the steps quilting a whole quilt. Starting with loading, so this video is gonna be broken up into a few parts. We'll start with the loading, we'll get it all loaded. We'll do a video on basting down the top. I'm gonna be quilting it with Q-matic, so we're gonna do a video of setting up Q-matic and getting that stitched. We'll do a video how to advance that Q-matic to stitch out your next rows. We'll do a final video of how to stitch the final bottom part and crop those pieces off. And at the end of this video series, you're gonna know how to quilt a quilt with Q-matic from start to finish. So I've been making YouTube videos for a while. I'm somewhat new to the BERNINA family. I've joined their education team. I'm very excited. I was so excited to get my hands on this long arm. It's been so much fun getting to know Q-matic and the machine, and gosh, the ease of using these machines. I mean, the fact that everything is right here at your fingertips, I love that. There's no going off other places. I can wind a bobbin here. I'm using our regular domestic needles. I can switch feet so quick because in this for this quilt, I'm gonna be using the cup foot or the cup clip on the ruler foot, but I'm also gonna be using the ruler foot for basting the edges, and I'll show you how I baste the edges of my quilt when we get to that video. So you're gonna learn a lot of things. You might know what you're doing, whatever. Here's my thing. You do it the way that is best for you, because that's the most important thing. If it works for you and you're not gonna hurt anything or hurt yourself, then that's the way you should do it. This is just the way I like to do things. I show you the way that I would need to learn it, so a lot of people seem to have liked that. I'm using a wide back today. I love wide backs. I don't like to piece the back of my quilts because I piece the top of my quilts. So I always say whatever's in there. This happens to be a connecting threads. All the fabric is connecting threads today. So this is their faded chambray, one of their wide backs. It's a gray. It kind of went with the top. Over here we have our quilt top. Let me move this over. So here's the quilt. Does it have a name? No. Is it my own design? Yes. I made this in AccuQuilt using the Lori Miller Fun 5-patch add-on to cut with my AccuQuilt. So I designed it in electric quilt, cut it with my AccuQuilt, sewed it on my BERNINA, and now I'm going to quilt it with my BERNINA. Love this. These are also connecting thread flannels. This is the Mirage Tonal Flannels. So I will link things below. But yeah, so we're gonna get this loaded. I'm gonna move the top out of the way because we're gonna load the back first. The loading, the way that I load, I call it the burrito method. If you're new to the channel and you like me and you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop, wink, wink. I used the wrong eye, wink, wink. If you do that, you'll see when the new videos come out. I'm gonna start making a lot of videos with this as I'm in town and I have more time. Different things that I like to do. Where was I going with that? I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, I talk about food. I talk about food a lot. I call this the burrito method because that was a way for me to remember the steps. So it's really easy. We're gonna load our our belly bar first, and then I'm gonna load the backing, and last I'm gonna load the top. Well, then we're gonna load the top, and then we're gonna put the batting on. I put the batting on last because I don't want to try to roll that top up with it pulls on the batting, especially flannel on batting. That's just gonna get a mess. So I am going to move some things out of the way. We'll see you back, and I'm probably gonna move the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll see you back here in a second. But welcome, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop. Also follow me on social media, Adam So Fun with an SEW on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, so there are a lot of ways to load a quilt. I happen to have the zipper leaders. I'm not gonna use them right now, but I do have the BERNINA zipper leaders that you can get on the Pro Frame. That lets you zip on and zip off. I can I can do this step because I am gonna be using pins. I can pin anywhere that I want. This is an off-site studio that I have, so I can pin at home and then bring it to the studio, zip it on. Makes it very nice. I love the zippers. There are zipper systems that you can get if you don't have the Pro Frame and you can't get the BERNINA zipper leaders. There are zipper systems out there. I previously used the zippers from the Quick Zip system from the Quilting Connection in Wisconsin. They do the Quick Zip system. Love it. It's great. It's what I use on my previous long arm. Also, sew tights, the magnets. Honestly, that's what I use now. Most people don't have them. They start off with pins. That's why we're pinning today. But you will see other videos come out with the different systems. I actually mix and match. So I usually zipper my back. So I will zipper the take-up lever back bar, and then I will use magnets on the front too. So there's no right way. It's the way that you like to do it. So that's my little thing. You'll see other methods coming out. I have to put my magnets into my my leaders so I can use my sew tights. So, but at some point you'll see those come out. So our first step, we want to find the center of our back. I'm using a wide back and I'm going to be loading selvage to selvage. So I folded it, I put a pin in it. I did not pre-square this up. Usually I would, but because the quilt that I'm using is not super big, I think it's like 59 by 59, this is gonna be fine. I have more than enough backing. I also am gonna show you a tip because you don't always have to center your quilt top. So I'm gonna get this loaded and then we're gonna put the top wherever we want. Rule of thumb, when you're new, find the centers of everything. You're gonna have 4 inches or 6 inches all the way around that with that backing and that batting. And if you always load on the center, then you'll always make sure that everything fits. Once you understand what you're doing and why you're doing different things, it's one of the reasons I like to load the way I do. Because now I usually will just throw my backing on and it loads where it lands. Or I use my my zipper, zip that back, and then just load the fronts accordingly. So in this case, we're gonna load like this is our first time. So I've found the center of both sides. I'll show you why that is not always the best whenever we get to when we start pinning the back. But I have my center, I marked it with a pin, that's fine. And now I wanna open this, I wanna make sure it's fabric, or pretty side down. People will often load these upside down, especially in the beginning, and that's okay, because we all do it. I actually loaded one upside down not too long ago, because I wasn't paying attention. It was with the zippers, but I just put the dummy zipper on and it fixed it. So, I'm gonna pop that over. I throw everything all the way over, because gravity and tension running over this bar is gonna help me. Now, we're gonna be loading this belly bar first. The center of your leader is going to be marked. That's the center. The center of your leader is marked. So that is your spot to start. It's going to make everything nice and easy. But I want to pull this out. And I'm going to leave a little bit on here, and then I'm going to lock this bar. I don't want to be able to roll it both ways because I need a little bit of leader on this bar for that tension. And that will keep this from rolling. I want to make sure I have my center there, perfect. And I'm going to pull some fabric. And I want it to overhang. I talk about food. We are going to build a table. I don't like to hold things in my hand. I like to have everything laid out to make it easy so I'm not bending over and hurting my back. So every step is thought out about like how can I make this the easiest possible and keep me standing straight up. So I've pulled some extra. I'm gonna fold this back on itself. Making sure I'm kind of wrapped around the corner. That's why we kept this leader here, because I have tension right there. It'll keep it from slipping. If it was just the metal bar, it would just slip off. And so now this is my table, okay? I have my leader that was hanging down. I have my center mark, and now I can just fold this up and lay my leader and line everything up. These canvases are such good quality that you kind of have to fold them out until they break in a little bit. I'm gonna grab my pins. I use my pins, I use a Zirkle magnet. But any magnetic pin cushion is really nice. I like these because they tend to not to fall off. I've made a table so I can just kind of sprinkle the salt or my pins across the top. And now I'm gonna pin this. And when I pin this, I'm taking nice big bites. And I usually just go in and out. I'm going to do that center mark first. And then I'm gonna pull this center pin out, the one that was marking the center of that fabric. All right, so now I'm gonna pin across going to the left. I have that first bite. I like about 2 fingers between, like a 1/2 inch, 2 fingers between the point of one pin and the head of the next pin. You don't have to overdo this. I think that's one of the things I see most often. Newer quilters feel like they have to have so many pins in this. And then I'm gonna bring you close so you can finish seeing the rest of this as I go. All right, so I'm just gonna continue on. And now you can't even see because my hand, I'll try to leave my arm down. That one got off. Trying to stay out of the way. Let me see if I can move. Well, the other side's just gonna be worse because you're gonna work over my arm. Let's see, hopefully this helps. I can't see through the camera and do this, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going in and out, nice big bites. Now, if you poke yourself with one of these, you will bleed. It might not bleed right then, but you will bleed. They are very sharp. And also, if you're watching this and you've been long arming for a while, if the pins don't go through really easy, you need a new box. You should change these just like you change your needles. Now at the end, a lot of people like to turn the pin and point them in like this. That's fine. I have taught myself to turn the pins out, so at both ends, I point them out. It's me, that's what works for me, and that's the way I do it. I also will weave this last one in. Why? I don't know. And there's a bigger gap there. That's fine. That's not going to worry. So here you can see that the pins are not too close. There's about two fingers between each one. That's going to be ample. Now I'm going to go do the other side. I'm not going to film this because I don't feel like you need to watch me do this. But some people will point these pins going the opposite direction. I don't. I don't because I'm right-handed. And it's easier to go this way. Personal preference. If you want to go the other direction, that's fine. Some people say it makes the tension better, whatever. I've been long arming and teaching for a long time. This gets the job done. So I'll see you back here when that's all done. All right, so all my pins are on. I'm ready to start rolling this. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any extra salt or pins, and I'm going to take this off the bar because I don't want to start rolling it. If you don't have a strong magnet, it will fall off, it turns into a grenade in the air, it hits the ground, and pins go everywhere. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. And now we're ready to roll. So I am going to unlock this bar and just roll it down a little bit. You'll see everything fall. That's perfect. I also kind of will grab this if I can reach. Like if you're not too short and you can reach, I will grab and throw this over, and you're gonna see why in a second, because as I start to roll this is gonna get really tight, and it's gonna pull with tension running over this back bar. It's gonna help this backing load up so flat and nice and smooth. So I also like to lock my bar, and I wanna hear the bar when I turn it. I wanna hear that sound because it means I'm rolling the correct direction. If the bar's locked while you are loading, you're never gonna roll the wrong direction because you can't. I'll make sure my sides are nice and flat, and you'll see it's already getting tension. And I can roll this. Now, one of the tips that I have is, can you see, which side can you see? We can see that side. So the sides of your leaders will be flippity floppity, okay? These are small sew type magnets. These aren't the ones I load with, but these are the originals. I think with the Bernina leaders being true canvas leaders and really heavy duty, the HD magnets would work a little bit better. But these you can put, and I'll just point you down right here really quick. If once you get here, you put this right here, it'll hold this down so it's not so flippity floppity. I could even put it on the other side, but well, we'll put it over there and see. Again, these aren't the heavy duty ones, so they're not as strong as the heavy duty ones, but that will keep those bars from flopping around. And I have, or not the bars, but the leaders, and I have one of these here, and I have one down here. And you can see it right there on both sides. I do have a discount code, an affiliate code with Sew Tights. So if you're shopping at Sew Tights and you use the code ASF10, you'll save 15%, and I get a little something back too. So that's what funds the channel. All right, so there's my little pitch. But I do love Sew Tights. I use them for so many things in the sewing room. So now I'm gonna make sure everything's nice and flat. And I'm gonna roll like 3 rotations, making sure that everything looks good. Let's do maybe 1/2. I just wanna get this little blip out. And I'm just gonna smooth it. And I'm gonna roll and smooth as I go, watching the bar to make sure everything looks nice and flat. When I smooth, I'm remember there's pins in there. We don't wanna poke ourselves, so I'm not pushing real hard. And if you quilt with a friend, only one person gets to do this step. And the reason for that is you're gonna smooth at different tensions, and you'll smooth it right off center. I'm gonna come back. This is all sitting on the table. I like it to fall over onto the floor if your floor's clean. If it's not, on the table is fine. But I just want to make sure that it's kind of laying flat because it will help roll. If it's flat back there, it'll help roll a little flatter up top. But I just get the tightest, smoothest backings, even with the wide back that wasn't squared up. And I am loading selvage to selvage, but that doesn't mean that the fabric is totally straight. And in the burrito method, we're gonna load this bar from the back of the machine. Because normally you'd stand here, you'd put your leaders together and you'd pin and hold, and it's a lot of bending over, it's a lot of, trying to maneuver everything and hold things up. We don't want that. Remember, we want to make it as easy as possible, keeping our posture, not hurting our backs. So I probably have about a foot hanging over the back, and that's perfect. So that's where we're going to leave it. And now we're going to move to the back of the machine. I'm going to move Nacho to the other side of the frame so I can put the camera over there, and I'll meet you when we're in the back so we can finish pinning this on. All right, so now we're ready to load the backing and the back bar. A few things. We need all of this fabric and everything to go under our idle bar, previously named the dead bar. Everything needs to go under this. If it doesn't go under this, then it's not gonna be loaded right. We're gonna go kind of at this big angle, kind of like the front looks now. That is not correct. So I'm going to unlock my backing. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute so you can see this step. In real life, I usually don't roll that. I don't move that out of the way because I don't need to. Now, this is our leader, and this is where the burrito comes in, okay? Because we have two bars here, we have the back bar, which is beans, and the idle bar, which is cheese. I can't think of a good C name for it, but we have beans and cheese. And we need to make a burrito out of beans and cheese. And by making that burrito, I can have everything come over the top, but when it unfolds the burrito, it's going under the bottom. You're gonna see the magic in just a second. The first time I did this, I was at a shop and I was showing them, and the owner told me later, she said, well, you did that wrong and then it worked, so you gotta show me this. And that's kind of where this channel started, was my loading, the burrito method. So I'm gonna pull this. There we are. And so the leader's coming out. The leader's the tortilla, okay? And we're gonna wrap the beans and cheese in the tortilla. So the tortilla is naturally coming off towards us. So I'm just gonna keep that flow. I'm gonna come around. If you have Q-matic, don't pick up those belts. And I'm going to wrap and make my burrito. There we are. Get a close up. All right, so now my burrito's made. We can assume the leader's straight, right? I'm gonna roll this out a little bit more. The nice thing about the Bernina leaders, they're so long. You have a lot of wiggle room to work with. So now, because that burrito's made, when I roll this up, it's gonna be all perfect in the front. I'm gonna grab my fabric back, and we're gonna drop it right here. And what I wanna do, make sure everything's nice. What I wanna do is I wanna roll this up. Let's see. This one's pretty straight. I wanna roll the front until these two edges are in line with each other. I could either roll the front or unroll the back. I wonder if, because these leaders are so long, I might be able to switch this up a little bit. I've always rolled the front bar because it's just easier to, like, there wasn't enough leader to unroll the back, but I think we can unroll the back. Oh my gosh. So much easier. Achievement unlocked. Okay, you guys. That's big. I don't know if you can tell, but wow. So now I have my leader and my backing, and they're in line with each other. So a few things with this. Let's pretend, let me see if I can even do this. I'm just gonna move the leader a little bit to make it look off. I should do it on that side. So I'm not, this actually is pretty straight, but I'm gonna pretend like it wasn't straight. All right, so let's say like, okay, so we have like an inch down here. We'll pretend like this is, we're gonna say that these sides are straight. And then when I get over here, I have like this 2 inches or an inch and a half, whatever. What do we do? What do we do if that backing's not straight? Well, one of the reasons I like to load this way is because I'm gonna look at my fabric and I'm going to determine how straight this was. Maybe I pieced the back. Maybe I tried to square it up and I didn't square it up very well. I'm gonna look at this, and this is my indicator of how straight the backing is. Because if the backing is straight, we're gonna have a real nice swag. This is a really nice swag going on here. If my top looked like this, that's not very straight. I can tell that that's not straight because I have a ton of, it's tight over here and I have a lot of looseness and it's loosey-goosey over there. That's never gonna load and quilt right because it's not loaded right. So if I can pull this, and I'm gonna pull my leaders back and put them back where they go because this is pretty straight. But if I have this sitting here, and the swag is nice, and everything looks good, there, I know that this is good and I can pin this. If they're not straight, we didn't talk about this. If they're not straight, I will put pins, say I had this much overhang here, I'm gonna pin into my leader. And I can feel the leader behind here, and I might have this flippity floppity here, but because it's swagging straight, I'm gonna use that leader behind there. So I will pin in, let me just put this full pin in here. Unfortunately, this backing is good. I didn't expect it to be good. So I have a pin in the leader. All this extra is gonna be cut off whenever I trim the quilt later. But I gotta get this lined up again. So much easier. Okay, now we're in line. And again, I'm gonna start at the center, and we're doing the same thing. I'm using the edge of the fabric. So, same thing, I'm using the edge of the leader, but because they're straight, it makes it pretty easy. And one thing you don't wanna do, don't forget to pull the center marking pin out. Also, I didn't even talk about center. This one was centered pretty well because it was straight. But if it wasn't centered and the swag was still good, I'm gonna go off the swag. I'm always gonna use the swag as my guide. Because if that's right, that means the fabric's gonna load right. Oh. And I'm just pinning across, just like I did the other side. I'm gonna finish this and we'll see you back in the front. All right, so now we're back to the front. Everything is pinned. I'm gonna make sure that my back bar is locked. Perfect. My front is locked. We're good. And now I'm just gonna roll this belly bar. At some point, this is gonna roll up and it's gonna flop down. That's okay. When we get there, we'll stop and talk about where to start your pins. All right, so once it flops down, where do we want to start? Where do we want the top of our quilt? I like to cheat and get as close to my pins as I can in the front. So I'm gonna put my pins about here, which means I need to roll this bar up, because if I just keep rolling here, my leader is gonna be out pretty far. So I'm gonna roll that back bar. To where I think it needs to go. Then I can tighten up my belly bar and get everything nice where I want it. And now my backing is loaded. And the benefit, now I have a table for my top. So we're ready to load our top. Now this is, let's see. This is probably 72, is it? I think it is 2 yards. So this is about 2 yards. My top is only about 60 inches. So I think I'm gonna cheat my top to the left side. I'm gonna come in a few inches from the side, but if I come over here, I'll have this extra long strip that I can make some mug rugs. I can do, not tablecloths, but what are those things that go on a table? Placemats. Smaller things. I will have that extra fabric, and then sometimes I'll sew those strips together. But I would rather have 12 or so inches over here, or whatever I can do over here, than waste a bunch. If my quilt was only 40, I definitely don't want to put 40 in the middle of 72. I can put 40 over here and have all that extra. So I've already marked the center of my top. Let's see where it actually lands. Let's open it up and we'll figure it out. I have marked the center, and I only marked the center on the bottom because the top's gonna go where the top's gonna go. Some people mark the center of the top and they try to line everything up on the center, but again, if your quilt's not straight, that's not gonna happen. I can tell you this, my quilts aren't straight. I don't win ribbons, and I'm okay with that. So I have about yay much over here, and almost the same amount on the other side. So yeah, like I said, if I just pull this over, give myself a few inches, now I have a good foot over here once I trim off and stuff. So I do quilt over the edges, but that's just gonna give me a little extra over there. So here's my top. I'm gonna pull some. Again, I have it folded or hanging down, and then I fold it on itself. And if I have a natural seam somewhere, I'll try to use that seam as my guide. And the top is on the table. Now I'm going to unlatch my top bar. It's already unlatched. Pull out my leader. And I'm gonna line the edge of my leader up with the edge of my quilt top. Because the leaders are stiff, I'm gonna do that. And then I can fold this over, line it up. And now our favorite part, we get to pin. Where are my pins? And once this is pinned, we're done. I mean, we're loaded. Again, make sure you take that first one out. Like, I'm gonna spill the salt on the table. Not gonna throw it over my shoulder though, because I don't wanna step on it. Because I tend not to have shoes on in here. All right, so now we have everything pinned. I like to flop this down. I like to toss everything over. I want that tension. It'll kind of unfold itself and do that with if you were just to roll it. So a few things. Again, I have zippers on. If I were at home, if I were using zippers on all four rails, I'm always using the center mark. Like if I'm preloading them, everything is based off the center of the zipper. So if I am using zipper leaders, like that's a different video. You always center everything. That's one of the reasons I enjoy using zippers on the back, but then magnets on the front, because then I can pick and choose where I want that top loaded. Because if this were, say, a bigger piece of wide back that I happen to have, and I was using zippers the whole way through, I would have to center this on those zippers, because that's what keeps everything straight. Zippers are so accurate because you're using that center mark. The zippers aren't stretching because they're zippers. Like they're really a great accessory. So now we're gonna lock and roll our top bar. Make sure everything stays nice and flat. Now I told you about the flippity floppity. We're gonna fix this when we get down to the bar. Make sure your leaders are staying nice and straight. And now I'm to a point where I can put that sew tight on. And we can continue to roll. And I'm gonna roll. I wanna make sure that this is staying nice and flat. You know, throwing it over, it's gonna keep everything nice and taut. But I'm gonna roll until it kind of falls over towards me. And again, I'm making sure I can see seam lines and things are nice and straight here. Things look really straight down here. The top is rolling up straight. I could come in and kind of smooth out the top if needed. And I like to roll this because of how I do my basting. I like to roll this until it's about an inch farther than my pins. I'm gonna start it down here, but I like to have that little extra give. And now we're ready to load our batting. Now, why didn't we put on the batting first? Because it goes between the two. If I were to put batting before I put this layer on, flannel is going to stick. I wonder if any fabric is going to stick. But I didn't know, oh yeah, it picked up that corner. See that? Think about trying to roll a large quilt over that. That is just gonna be a hassle. You're gonna be mad. There's gonna be anger. So I always do my top first. And at this point, I need to get it out of the way. So I just kind of start making some fan folds. And I'm gonna put it right on the bar. And now it's up off the floor, and I can see all of my loose threads that were on the back of that fabric. So now we're gonna get our batting. I always measure everything. I want to measure everything first. I'm also gonna see if I need to tighten this up. It looks good. It's nice and tight. We don't want this bar to bow. If this is bowing too tight, and if you tighten these up too tight and you do it over time, this idle bar will actually start lifting. So you always want to make sure that you have the correct amount of space between the idle bar and your machine, which is like a number 5 Allen wrench. You can just sit right there. So now I have my batting. I know that I cheated to the left, so I'm just gonna put one edge of my batting on this side, and I should have enough. I cut a very large piece of batting. I use it off the roll. I buy the rolls because they're more economical. Now the thing with batting, you don't want to grab it and pull, because you're just gonna put your fingerprints in it. I call it the pancake pull. We're gonna pancake pull it. This part, you don't need to do that, but when we're advancing in things and trying to smooth the batting out between the layers, pancake pull is where it's at. That looks good. This, and it kind of, again, everything kind of gets folded on itself. And then I will unroll and tuck it over that bar and drop it onto the floor. And it's even getting stuck to the top, just kind of swishing by it. And then kick it out of my way. I need to figure out something to put down there that I can put the batting on. I'm not a big fan of it going on the floor. And so now batting's loaded, and I can take my top, making sure that this is nice in there. Put this back. And now our quilt top is loaded. So that is loading the Burrito method. This will work on the Bernina Pro frame. It will also work on the Bernina Studio frame because the bars are in the same direction. Any frame that has your backing bar up top and your top bar, the top bar is gonna come around, it's going to load the same way. The Burrito can be done on any frame that has an idle bar. I love this. No more back hurting, no more holding fabric up while you're trying to do something. Everything loads nice, straight, and taut. Yeah, it's the way I do it. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop. Go follow me. I'm Adam So Fun with an SEW on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. What else? I have links to things that I've used. They'll be below. You'll notice I haven't put on side clamps, haven't done that. I do that all in the basting step, which will be in the next video. So if you jump onto that next video, we're gonna just continue this process, and we're gonna continue this process through quilting this full quilt. So the next one, we'll baste the tops and the sides, put on our side clamps. That one will be a quick video. And then the next one after that is setting up Q-matic. We're gonna edge to edge this with Q-matic. We're even gonna talk about bringing a design in from a USB stick, because that's what I got for this one. And you're gonna learn so much going through this series with me. So hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's just quilting. Get out there, have fun, and do it, because if you're doing it, then you can love it. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.